Sorry.
Oh, that's great. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to The Metal Block. We're so happy to have you. Another special, awesome episode, great interview that we're going to have. Don't forget to check out our social medias. Stop by, see what we're listening to. Send us an email, metalblocktalks@gmail.com, and give us some suggestions. We're always trying to look for new metal and new things to check out, so please help us. We are here for you. We are here to serve you. Help us spread it. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. And another exciting episode, as I said. We have Aron Hetsko with us today. He's going to hang with us for the next little bit and just talk about some metal and let us in a little bit into his side of the world and how he sees it through his eyes. And we're excited. So we hope you guys get something out of this. We hope you get to check out some of the projects he's working on. I could sit here and list projects probably for a couple of minutes that he's either been in or currently working on. So excellent musician. And thanks, Aron, so much for joining us. We're really happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and excited to chat.
Heck yeah, man. And we got, as always, Brutal Brando, Scary Greg with us.
Yo.
And they are going to do some question asking and get this interview started. So, Greg, why don't you kick us off?
All right, cool, man. Aron, we do appreciate you coming on here for sure. I'm just gonna throw it back and ask you a little bit of your history and explain just how'd you get into playing extreme drumming, like metal type of drums? How long you been playing the drums?
So I've been playing. Let's see. It is coming up on 15 years in mid-September. It'll be 15 years. So yeah. Whenever I turned 14 long ago, and I didn't ask for drums for my birthday, which I should have done because I wasn't even thinking about it. But like literally 2 weeks after my birthday, at some point, I just decided, hey, I should play drums. There was not much of a reason or anything behind it. Like I think I had gone to like my cousin's house and there was a drum kit there at one point, like maybe a year prior, and I'd maybe messed around. Couldn't really play anything. I think I had like a little like iPod Touch that I had like a little drum app on. But I kind of just randomly decided, hey, I want to play drums. And at that point too, I was into like classic rock and like kind of like heavy metal, like Metallica and like maybe a little bit of Slipknot, nothing crazy. But, it all kind of started when I started playing drums, because that's when I started actually paying attention to the drumming in music. And I remember I had a buddy, I guess not long after that, I had to be in 8th grade, I guess, and he was a neighbor friend and he played guitar, and he recommended, like, I think it was Trivium, and he was like, hey, check out this band. And I was like, okay. And I was like, whoa, this is a bit much, like, but I heard like the double bass and I heard all like the fast drumming in it, and I was like, okay, I can get down with this. And that's kind of just where it progressed. And so I had taken lessons briefly when I was younger, but it was a lot of just like listening to music like that. Before all that, I was like trying to play AC/DC, trying to play Metallica, trying to play System of a Down. And then I heard that kind of stuff. And then there was a point where I was like, you know what, I need a double pedal. I got to try to play this kind of stuff. And then that was a whole process. And I basically those early years, like I was just listening to music, trying to play it on drums. Kind of had lessons for a little. Like I think I only took them for a few months. The problem was I didn't get it at that age. Like I just wanted to play drums to songs. So like I didn't have too much of the fundamentals down. I was just playing. And I was playing for hours and hours and hours. Like, shout out to my parents for letting me be upstairs in my room just hitting drums for hours on end. But I really didn't have any fundamentals or anything. I was kind of just like brute forcing my way into playing these metal songs. And that actually, like, pretty soon after that, I think it was probably my sophomore year, when I was like 15 or 16, I actually started a death metal band with some buddies, and that band actually, well, there was a few other little bands, but the one that actually started playing shows and everything, and we had released music and whatnot, is actually like the first iteration of the Xebellian Triangel. So, Brandon, if you were there for our whole set the other day, I think the second song we played was actually a song that we had written in that original high school band, and we had performed live like well over a decade now. So I was kind of already playing death metal live at that point at 16. Wasn't good, but I was sitting there trying to blast and do all that stuff, and then it kind of just slowly progressed over time, but that was the introduction, at least, to the heavy music and my drumming, I guess.
Cool. Hell yeah. Who do you like drummer wise? Who are your main influences and inspirations? Like, who do you chalk it up to for you enjoy their style, or just your main inspiration?
I would say so. From like an earlier age, a huge one was Shannon Lucas. One, because he was on Fall of Ideas by All That Remains, and I discovered that actually before I ever discovered the Black Dahlia Murder. And then I found the Black Dahlia Murder, and I was like, whoa, this is it's crazy. And I actually bought the same ride cymbal he was using on like Deferate and Nocturnal. I actually bought that when I was 16. I still use it. Like that ride has been on like every single tour I've ever been on. Like probably played every single metal show I've ever played in my life, basically. And so that was a big one. And then pretty soon after that, I kind of discovered Between the Buried and Me, and then Blake Richardson became a big one, because it was like I had heard all these like death metal drummers and blast beats and stuff, and then Blake was kind of doing that, but also doing like a lot crazier fills and odd time stuff and different grooves and a lot of extra like non-metal stuff, and that kind of like made me realize like, oh wait, there's a lot more to drumming than just like metal and stuff like that. So I was just a kid at the time. I just was heavy stuff. Let me like listen to this. Let me try to play this. And then I realized like, oh, there's a lot of other like styles, a lot of like this stuff. Like playing drums is complicated. Like there's a lot more to this, like. And his drumming kind of opened me up to that. And then,
Yeah, I could definitely see Shannon Lucas big time. It's funny. I remember I saw you on TikTok like before I even knew that you were going to tour with Enterprise Earth or anything, and I just like came across a few of your like drumming videos, and I think you were actually covering the Black Dahlia Murder. Do you have a Black Dahlia Murder on your TikTok on your video?
Yeah. So there was a thing. There's a page called Metal Drummers United, and they did a kind of like Trevor tribute thing after his death. And they had like a bunch of drummers all do one song off of Nocturnal. And so they had a YouTube video of the whole album with a bunch of different covers. And I did Climactic Degradation.
That's right.
I think that was off Nocturnal, right? Did I get the album right? I believe so, yeah. And so, that's probably the cover you saw, because I actually haven't done a lot of Black Dahlia covers, because those songs are deceivingly difficult. Like, I can play them, but it's gonna like take some time out of my day to really like work on it and get it down solid and then record it. So that's the only one I've really done that's at least recorded and out there,
Definitely. You're down in the Houston area, right?
Yep.
How was the local metal scene growing up? Did you have a good scene that you came up in?
Yeah, I mean, so there was definitely a lot going on when I was in high school. I think I wasn't quite connected with the scene like other people were, or some of my friends were. I was going to shows, but I was more going to like bigger shows and not as many like local shows. And I really didn't like connect with the local scene until I would say like 2018 or 2019. I started like, it was actually near the end of college. I was going to A&M in College Station. I was driving back to Houston to like go to shows and go to local shows. And I was meeting a lot of like local musicians and whatnot at that point. But really, I would say the Houston scene's always been pretty good. I think right now it's probably better than it's ever been.
Cool.
At that point, I know there was a lot going on too. Like that's around that time was when like the whole like Denny's show happened. You know, the internet famous Denny's show and stuff like that. Like I think I even got invited to that, and I just couldn't go because I was like a 16-year-old and I needed a ride, and you know, didn't happen. But yeah.
Well, sick. You know, that's cool. That I'm glad. I know Houston does have a good scene. Brandon's down in Houston. Actually, I know you guys have. I think you guys met up at a show, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which show was that? Was that Enterprise
on the
Earth
16th.
and
No, it was Fallujah, Persephone, Vulvadinia, Dawn of Ouroboros, and then Xebellian was opening.
Oh, sick. You guys played that show. That's right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what,
Yeah, that
what's
kicked
on
off
the
a little
16th?
like 5-day run. Oh, 16th is the first show of the stabbing tour that I'm playing.
Oh, dude, you're filling in. That's going to be one of my questions. Was let's hear about the stabbing. Fill-in. So you are filling in for stabbing for a full tour.
Yeah, so I did the May run with them, and then the little June run out to New York City, and then I'm doing this
Killer.
one. I'll be recording the album with them next week too, right before we go on
really?
that. So yeah, I'll be drumming on that as well. So
Oh, dude, that's super cool. Are you a member now, or are you just filling in, or how's that working out?
it's kind of like I'm doing whatever I can when I'm available.
Yeah,
Marvin actually lives here, so it's really easy for us to jam. Like we just jammed the set right before this because his
Oh, that's
room
sick.
is right next to my practice room. So I just knock on the door, like, "Hey, you want to jam the set?" And then we go ahead and run
no
it.
shit. And
Dude.
he's in Devourment, isn't he?
Yeah. So he'll be playing with them tomorrow, actually, in Houston.
Oh hell yeah!
What?
Yeah, it's a Devourment, Corpse Pile, and a couple other bands. I think it's sold out, unfortunately. It was supposed to be
don't know how I
a
didn't know
torture
about that.
show. So
Yeah,
it was
no kidding.
it was a last minute swap. It was supposed to be Torture headlining, and then they canceled their tour, and they just for the Houston show they just swapped the headliner, switched over to Devourment. Said if you want a refund, because I think it was already sold out, and they just said, if you want a refund, you can have a refund. If not, keep your ticket. Now it's Devourment instead of Torture, and I think they offered a few more tickets, and then it's I think it's a Ground Control, so it's going to be
Damn.
a pretty
Torture's-
wild show.
It's crazy
That's
how
cool.
much Torture's blown up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nuts. Brandon, you
Yeah,
familiar with Torture?
that is real cool.
No, I'm not, but I'm going to get familiar with him.
They're like they're a slam band, and actually, I saw the vocalist at Knock Loose talk about him in an interview, and it seems like ever since that interview, they just it's like every fucking metalcore kid just flew to him, like they bring it though. The drummer does vocals, and they've been super popular. The guys in Rivers of Nile the night before they played the OKC show, when we were at dinner, they were telling me about a show they went to like a night or two before, like in a laundromat where they hadn't sold out as well, and it's just like pure absolute chaos. It's kind of like like Peeling Flesh is like intense crowd, how those kids just go absolutely maniacal. It's like that same slam kill each other crowd.
All right.
Yeah, it's
cool.
kind of what I've been seeing playing with Stabbing. It's been some violent shows. It's been a lot of fun. Luckily,
Some
I'm
wild shit.
behind the drums, and I don't have to be in the crowd. But
Yeah.
yeah.
You got a little safety net.
yeah,
Hey, when Stabbing, they came and played with, they opened for Suffocation when Suffocation came through, and they were playing at 89th Street, and I had never listened to Stabbing before, and I was so impressed. And what was really cool, I love it whenever a band does so good at the show that there's like a run on their merch table. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as stabbing was done, all these people were running to that merch table, and that line was so long, and it was probably full for like the rest of the show of people.
Yeah.
And then, they got up there, or somebody be crossing out the 2XLs, and like 4 people would fall out of line, like, they're out of
That's
2XLs, And so it was a really good show. And Bridget is, this is like a total compliment, but she's like a creepy doll animatronic, like, on stage, the way she like moves, and it's like totally creepy, and it fits that, what the whole like imagery of the band and all of that stuff. It just goes so well, the like personality that she takes on when she gets on stage, and it's really just with her mannerisms, and it fits so well with it. That was the one thing that really stood out to me, just aside from, how great the music was. So that's really cool that, you're getting to jam with them, and, hopefully you can continue to jam with them, and I'd like to see y'all come through OKC again.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a good change of pace because with both Xebellian and Enterprise, I'm playing to a click, and everything is like, much... Like, we're all on in-ears, we're all, I have a click track, we're all, it's just more, like, produced, I guess, in that sense. But with stabbing, it's like, a lot of the shows that we were playing, like, I didn't even have a wedge, I didn't have a monitor, like, I couldn't even hear, I was just playing, and, like, there's no click track, it's just cabs and one vocal and triggers, and, like, we just run it like that last run particularly. We like the first show was like in this brewery. We played on the floor. There's 200 people in there. Couldn't hear anything. I was just playing by memory, and we played quite a few or like 3 shows kind of similar to that, where like no monitors really. The PA wasn't. I don't even think they had guitars or bass through the PA. You're just hearing it from the cabs. And then we got to that Kitty show, which is really cool, is at this venue called Warsaw in Brooklyn. And so suddenly we went from all these like floor shows to now we're playing 1,000 cap, like nice venue where I get a nice in-ear mix, because they're running me, like I have my little like rig so I can still run my in-ears even if I don't have anything running to them. And so they were able to give me like a monitor mix and everything, and everything sounded all clean. I had like, overhead mics on the drums on top of everything being actually mic'd up. And then like, next day we're back to playing on a floor, can't hear anything. And so it was kind of a fun experience, but in general, that's been a fun experience. Just like going and playing, just jamming, just like I said, like, Marvin comes in the practice room and we just jam, there's no setup, no nothing. His head and cab are sitting in there, so anytime he just walks around the corner with his guitar, plugs in, like, da-da-da, we start the set, and so kind of getting a little bit back to, like, just the roots of, like, just playing instruments and not having all the fancy stuff. But
you're right. Yeah, it's like, oh, so that's what's going on whenever one of you grabs the instrument, and so the other one's right in there to be right with them. Hey,
Yeah.
So you talked about the in-ears real quick, and I've always kind of wanted to ask this. So, and I'm sorry, Greg, I'm jumping in with questions, but I've just got them popping in my head. Can you explain for somebody maybe who's never played with in-ears and they've always done it, like the old school garage band style, you're just listening and almost like, how you learn how to talk on stage without talking too, right?
Yeah.
You're like looking at each other certain ways and everybody knows, okay, we're in the right spot, or okay, we're about to move on. What is it like going from no ears to having the in-ears, having that good mix? Are you like automatically more comfortable playing, or is it an adjustment? Like how, like, could you talk about that just for a sec?
Yeah, I mean, there was a show, let's see, so there was a few bands I played for where I played to a click, so I would have like, they would run me a line, I would run headphones into it, but I wasn't playing to like a live mix, I was just playing to a click track and then a track, and then they would follow me. And that was fine, but then there was like one, I think it was like a pop punk band I played for 6 or so years ago, and I had this little in-ear setup, and I was like, for those bands with tracks and everything. And I decided to ask, like, hey, I just asked the guy at the venue, hey, can you just run the monitor line straight to my mixer instead of to the wedge? And like, that was the first time where I was like, I got like a little bit of the kick drum in there. I got like guitar, a little bit of the bass, and like, I was always just used to hearing wedges before that. So like, I heard that and I had everything right in my ears, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going back to like I'm doing this from now on, And so obviously some like with stabbing, like I've done quite a few shows where I don't have anything in my ears except for like my kicks, because I run the kicks like from my trigger module to my mixer, so I hear those no matter what. But like, if I don't have a wedge, or if they don't have, sometimes they don't have a line for me, or that whatever. So sometimes I'm just hearing cabs, sometimes I'm just hearing the wedge or whatever. So it's mainly just the clarity. I like hearing. I like, especially now. I got a set of like custom mold 64 audio in ears, because I was using the Shure 215s for a long time, and I had. Actually, on this tour with Paleface, there was one show in Greensboro where I was using the Shures, and I think it was during the first song I'm playing, and the volume in my ears is just slowly getting quieter, and I'm like, well, this isn't good, and I'm like really trying to concentrate, make sure I hear everything, and we finished the song, so I turn up my mix a little bit, and I'm like, okay, should be able to hear fine now. Because it had gone down significantly in volume, like to the point where I could just barely hear it at the end of the song. So I turned it up, and we start the song, and it's like normal volume for like 4 bars maybe, and then boom, it like goes back to normal volume, and it's just blowing my eardrums out, and I couldn't hear anything besides like basically just everything clipping, and I could hear a little bit of click. Like the click was just barely coming through, basically just like noise. And so I was just playing to the little bit of click that I could hear. And then it was like this back and forth battle where I would like turn it down, and then it would go really quiet again, and then I'd turn it back up, and it would blow my eardrums out. And this was at Hangar 1819, I think it is, in Greensboro. Pretty sure it was sold out, like probably 800 people. So I'm like not trying to mess up, in front of a crowd like that, and I'm like, and it's like not even my fault, I'm just fighting my own gear. And on that run, we were stopping through Portland, and someone had brought up at some point, hey, if you want some custom molds when we stop in Portland, we'll get them done. And like, I got off that stage and I was like, yes, give me, like, I'm getting those custom molds. I don't care how much it is. Because they're just overall like higher quality, like despite just the like custom fit, like they have, I've talked to multiple people with those. Gabe uses those, and he's been touring for years with them. And so I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I can't be in front of like 800 people with my ears, not being able to control the volume basically. So, The point being is like I got the like the fancy ones because of that bad experience, and it's been perfect since. Like it's been very
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all it takes, man. One
technology.
Time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yep.
Technology's just got to mess you up one time, and you're like, that is never happening again.
It's scary.
Yeah, and I was about to say, I can only imagine like being there with that happening to me, and I don't know, the fact that it sounds like you got through it, so well done. It's super, super hard task probably, but you overcame the technology.
Yeah, it was hopefully only a one-time experience.
Yeah, you're like, never again, right?
Yeah, please.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you. Sorry, I got us off track. Greg, back to you, buddy.
You're good. This next question's pretty on topic for that anyways. What kind of drones and cymbals are you running?
Right now, so I have a bunch of different kinds, but the main one I use for any like TXT or metal related stuff, I have a PDP maple kit that I bought used. It's I don't know the exact series, but like early 2000s model. Sounds great. And then I have a Mapex sledgehammer, brass snare, and then I kind of have an assortment of cymbals. I have that Xebellian HH Powerbell ride, which is that one I was talking about earlier that Shannon Lucas used.
Yeah.
I have a couple of Zildjian A custom crashes, some Meinl China's stack of just random stuff that was laying around, basically, and then another like Meinl Splash and hi-hat, I guess. So kind of I have a mix of Meinl, Zildjian, and Xebellian all over.
Sweet.
And then I guess trick Dominator pedals I've been using. Need to eventually upgrade, but they've done the trick so far. So, and on triggers for the actual triggers that I'm using, the pedal mounted ones.
Right. What kind of sticks do you run?
I've been using the Vic Fur 3As for a while.
Cool.
I just got a new brick of those, and hopefully will last me the next 2 tours.
Awesome. I was always a fan of Vic Firth. I play the drums for just like kind of pretty lazy with it. I play, I should play more, but I've got a nice electric Alesis. I think that's how you say it, Alesis. But yeah, I've got a electric kit, but always definitely been a fan of Vic Firth personally as well. With jamming wise, so I know the Xebellian Triangle is all local to Houston, right? So you guys can jam in person.
Yeah, somewhat. Our the guitarist, the new guitarist who's been playing with us, who's been kind of a live member recently. He lives in Lubbock, so the rest of us all live relatively close around the Houston area, and then we have to fly him in because it's about a 9-hour drive. So, okay. But he's done. Besides the first show of the year, which I actually wasn't at either. He's done all the other shows with us. So we did the 4 shows on that Enterprise tour, and then we did our little like East Coast tour, and then we did this last little 5-day run last week. And Jake's done all those with us, and we just fly him down, rehearse a day or 2, and then we go. But with Xebellian, we don't really like jam or practice too much. Like it's kind of I wouldn't say unspoken. It's definitely a spoken rule. Like, be prepared. Do not come to rehearsal without basically being fully ready to run every song. Like you're playing a show. So, and we've never had issues with that. That's been something we've always stressed because myself and Ivy, we've played in too many bands throughout the years where rehearsal becomes just a waste of time. It's just like people are either learning music or just messing around, or and that's never been something we if we're gonna rehearse, we want it to be productive. So
right.
So we don't do it that often unless we're just prepping for a live scenario.
Yeah, no, I get it totally. I mean, it'll pay off in the long run. What's your method with Enterprise? I mean, I know you just got all that. I know you've been mostly touring only with him, but with writing, are you going to be probably a lot of online stuff? And,
we actually, so the Enterprise usually writes in person. That everyone kind of gets together for a little bit of time.
Oh yeah, I've seen Gabe's Facebook a lot with like doing where they're all go out to the middle of the desert and fucking write.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's usually the method there, just to get together and write songs in the same room for a week or so. So cool. That's kind of been like it's kind of like everyone comes with ideas. Like Gabe usually has some ideas that he brings, and then everyone kind of goes through it. Once we're with the album, once they're there in person, and now with me, once we're all there. So
sick. Awesome. What tours do you have lined up so far, like in the near future, or just lined up, period?
So the 2, I guess, that I can talk about are the 2 coming up, like, pretty immediately, starting like next Friday. So I'm playing with Stabbing on that 200 Stab Wounds tour. Starts in Houston on the 16th, and then I think we're going up to pretty much going up the West Coast, going through Canada, and then it ends at Full Terror Assault. And then I'm flying straight, like after that, flying to rehearsal with Enterprise, and then we're doing that Necrogoblicon tour.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, with like a few like routing dates. So we have like a like 4 or 5 like enterprise headliner shows. I think playing like uh, somewhere in Utah and Boise and a few others like to get us out to the Necro shows and whatnot. So
is Dead Icarus on that? Is that the thing? Like, did you play drums with Dead Icarus recently, or is that coming up? Is that what that is?
yeah, so I forgot to mention that. I probably should remember since I've been like drilling those songs into my head. But that's actually that's Gabe's other band, and then Brandon Zaki is the drummer for that band, but he's unavailable, so I'm filling in for him again, and
Nice.
so I'll be pulling double duty on that tour, playing the Dedeker set, and then playing the
Oh
Enterprise
wow.
set right after that. So yeah, that's with Gabe. It's Brandon on drums, and then the vocalist is Alex, the old vocalist for Atreyu.
That's right. That's right. That's what Gabe was telling us about when we interviewed him on here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that'll be fun.
Cool.
Those songs are super fun. It's like it's I don't know, like heavier metalcore, so a lot of like fun little breakdown patterns and stuff to learn, and a lot of just metalcore drumming. So it's a little more relaxed than the Enterprise stuff, not quite as difficult, but still Brandon playing drums, so there's still all this like sneaky difficult stuff in there that has been kind of tough, but I finished learning the set. I ran it today, so we're hoping for the best.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, I'm sure it's going to go great, man.
I hope so.
All right. Kind of a random one, but if there's any band that you could tour with, and like as a supporting act of like any band in the world, who would it be?
Uh, that's tough. It would either be Meshuggah or the Black Dahlia Murder if I'm not talking about like sheer size of shows. Otherwise,
Right.
it would be cool to like tour with Metallica or something. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Right.
as far as like influence goes and just getting to like share the stage, like it would be crazy to do a Meshuggah tour.
Yeah. That'd be stupid sick.
That would be cool. It's a good answer.
Yeah,
That is a good answer. That is a good answer.
I can't imagine just standing side stage every night watching that show. It would kind of almost like ruin touring with a lot of other bands for me. I feel like.
Yeah. No kidding.
You're like, well, that's it. I guess
Yeah.
I've done it all now.
What else is there to do now?
Yeah.
Tour with Metallica, basically. That's,
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
2 nights each city.
yeah.
That's so funny. Are there any tours? I mean, probably not since you're about to be on the road for so long, but we always ask if there's any good shows or tours that you're wanting to attend as a fan of any bands coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to the Devourment show tomorrow night.
Oh, sick. Okay. Yep.
There's I think I'll be home for it. There's that Shadow of Intent, Flesh God tour.
Yeah.
Definitely going to that.
That's coming
Black
up.
Dahlia.
KC.
Yeah. Black Dahlia, Dying Fetus. I'll probably be going to that. I think I'll be
Oh,
home.
hell yeah.
I may not, but we'll see. There was a few. I think there was one in November announced recently that I was also looking at, but I can't remember a lot of that stuff. I was like,
Was it Devastation on the
go.
Nation?
maybe so.
Morbid Angel?
Yeah,
And,
that one would be cool. Yeah, Suffocation's on that one, so it'd
Yep.
be cool to see those guys again.
I think that one's in November. That's the only reason. It's the only one I can think of for November right now. So that's why I was
Yeah,
mentioning it.
there's quite a few that are coming through while I'm going to be out, and it's like a bunch of bands that I've like either toured with or I have friends playing with, and it's like, oh well,
Right.
I'll miss you again. No, we'll not be home, but maybe next time.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Life of the touring artist.
Yep.
What albums have you been jamming so far in 2024? Like, what would you so far say your album of the year is?
I mean, honestly, it kind of sucks because I haven't really gotten to listen to too much music recently. I've just literally been between the Dead Icarus set, the Stabbing set, and then the Stabbing album, I've just been like looping those so I can just burn them into my brain.
Right.
Whenever I do stuff like that, I also just get like tired of music. So if I'm not listening to that, I like am listening to podcasts or like YouTube videos and stuff. So I honestly I couldn't give you a good answer for an album this year because I probably listened to a lot earlier in the year, but I can't even think of anything off the top of my head that's coming to mind at least.
Well, that's an honest answer, you know. I mean, but hey,
Yeah.
at least you're listening to what you need to.
And if you listen to podcasts, I'm sure you're listening to your favorite podcast, the Metal Block podcast, right?
I did listen to I listened to the episode of Gabe for sure.
Nice.
Right on, man.
And I listened. I think y'all reviewed Obsidian. I think it was either Obsidian or the album. I think y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, we
We
did
did.
the album.
We did.
Mhm.
That's right.
And so I listened to that one as well.
Sick.
Hell yeah. Thanks
That's
for
awesome.
listening.
Appreciate it.
For sure. Hey, I know exactly what you're talking about, though, because, you know, we listen to music all the time because we're always trying to be ready for another show and we don't want to miss anything. We want to be able to talk about news that comes out. And I do find myself sometimes, like, driving to work and I'll realize about halfway through, I'm like, oh, man, I haven't listened to anything. Like, I've
Yeah.
just been listening to silence in my own thoughts during this entire drive. Usually about that time, I'm like, let's get that daily commute going so I can listen to it because Brandon's going to ask me questions. He's going to be like, did you like that?
Pop quiz, bitch.
So, yeah, pop quiz. So, no, that's good stuff. Well, hey, I want to jump in real quick. Not that I already haven't, but I was kind of curious. You talked about, and we briefly touched on this just a little bit before we got, you know, everything going, but you know, you talk about all these projects coming up and all of the, you know, work and preparation that goes into it. How do you, from, you know, a professional level and also just as somebody who's passionate about music, how do you like organize all of that and give everybody the, you know, the deserved amount of effort while also not keeping yourself from, you know, the stuff that you have to do anyway in life because life is still just life too. So I'd like to hear how you manage it all, and especially as you're, you know, I feel like it sounds like you're just getting busier and busier, and it's got to feel good, right? You know, to be the guy. But how do you keep it all together?
Keep a calendar is one big one. I'm constantly looking. Like we have like a shared calendar with TXT, and I kind of just throw everything of mine on there since it's like I want everyone to be aware of like my availability and everything anyway. So I just kind of throw all my at least like music and like stuff that's gonna make me unavailable in my personal life type stuff on that calendar, and I'm honestly checking that thing way too much because I'm like looking like through everything like, oh, what do I have this week, you know, and so that's a big one. I do feel like I'm sometimes like I'm a little bad about, I wouldn't say like biting off more than I can chew, but taking a huge bite that I can almost hardly chew and then like stressing myself out because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much I need to do. And that has been kind of like how I felt like my entire drumming career has been, at least since I would say at least the last 2 years. Because I was doing local projects and I was doing stuff like that. And I was like trying really hard to tour. And then of course, like the first tour offer I get was like, was with this band Ethereus, and they had like a 3 weeks heads up to learn like 45-minute tech death set, and I was like, well, I can't say no. Like I've been talking so much about how I want to tour, and like here it is. Here's the opportunity. Like, and so I said yes, and I'm like, holy crap, how am I going to do this? And so then it was just, it's like that kind of cycle of like, I say yes because I want to do something, and then I'm like, and then it like hits me that I'm like, oh crap, this is gonna take so much work, and then it like stresses me out, which just makes me lock myself in my practice room, and then I learn it, and then like for that one, I was like trying to partition out like, okay, I had like 7 songs, but they're all really hard, and I have 3 weeks. So how many? Like I have to learn one every few days or whatever to be ready. And then I ended up learning them like way faster because I just wanted to get it all done. And so then I had like this whole week where I was like sending them videos of me just like running the whole set and everything. And that's just been my like kind of my constant cycle of existence. Like the other one that really got me was that the tour I did last year with Fallujah, because I was told that they were needing someone for a tour, and I threw in a few videos thinking like, nah, they're never gonna like ask me, like. And then of course Scott messages me and then sends me the set, and it's 12 songs, and I'm like, oh well, I have 6 weeks to learn 12 Fallujah songs. And then one of the tracks that I had actually sent them wasn't even on the set, so I had like 1 down already, and then 11 more to go. And I was like, I sat there thinking, I can't say no to this. Like I wouldn't be able to like let myself live it down if I had a tour offer to play for Fallujah. And so like instantly I'm like, yeah. And then I like got off the phone, and I remember being like, I'm screwed. There's no way. And then like I made it happen, but it worked. I don't know how how else other than like cool. I just freaked out and then just practiced so much, and then it's there. But it was the same thing of just like keeping a calendar and like trying to like understand how many days I have left and when I need to learn stuff, and like sectioning off time. Like I definitely feel like I'm a little underprepared right now from like what I would like to be, but I also don't know how much of that is just me being picky with my own playing or actually being underprepared. So
well, if you've done it a few times, I would say it's working, and you're probably not underprepared at this point anymore. You're just fine-tuning your craft, and that's the reason why you can send those videos out and blow people's minds, and they're just like, we just sent these songs to him, how does he know? But yeah, that sounds cool, man. And I really appreciate too the comment where you talked about breaking it up by figuring out how long you have and what you have to do. Like, I'm such a mathematical mind thinking person. I'm always like trying to divide it up and feel like exactly like you're talking about. How much do I have to do in this amount of time, and then how do I break it up so that I stay on track?
Yeah.
And I don't fall behind, and then the last day trying to cram 2 songs, or in the case of music, right? So that's cool. I understand it sounds stressful, but that's a rocking strategy you got, man. And you just got people like ringing the phone trying to get you on the band. So
yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I almost credit a lot of that to because I have an engineering degree, and so like I feel like a lot of like my approach to like learning songs and everything, it kind of came just from like what I had learned in school, like given a huge project, and I was like, I wanted to get good grades, and I didn't get the greatest grades, but I finished my degree at least in engineering. You kind of at least have to be on top of it, even if you aren't like a straight A student. Like it's just hard to pass if you're not on top of it.
Yeah.
And sure. So I had a lot of that time management stuff where I was like, okay, I have this project or I have this test. Like I need to find time to like learn all this stuff, and it's kind of the same concept that I do with learning songs. I feel like it's a little bit easier with music actually, because like with studying, you're studying material, and then the test is like something different versus like, I'm not playing, like I'm learning music and then I just play that same music on the tour. and it's not like I'm being thrown curveballs. They're not going to be like, oh, this isn't in 4/4 anymore. It's in 5/4. You know, like so. But it's the same. It's at least the same approach that I took to studying in school, and really I almost have to credit a lot of like I feel like my abilities to that because like I was saying when I was younger, I didn't really know how to practice. I didn't know what I was doing. But after I was in school for a little bit is actually when I started kind of playing drums again around 2018, and I had like started applying a lot of the stuff that at least the approaches that I learned in school of like how to study. I applied that to just like learning drums, like learning drum parts, or just like working on fundamentals and stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the same concepts. Like a big thing I did in school a lot was I really focused on rest. Like I was never the kid to like pull an all-nighter right before a test because I always felt like if I didn't have a good night's sleep before a test, I would do worse. Because at least if I was like fresh and had a clear mind, like sure I might have missed out on a few hours of studying, but like I'm thinking more clearly versus like if I had spent the extra 4, 5, 6 hours studying through the night and only slept a couple hours, I might have all the information in my head, but I can't solve a problem. And so like I kind of apply that to drumming too. Like I try to practice and then go get a good night's sleep, and then like I'm not just trying to make sure that my brain's absorbing everything, getting the rest it needs, and a lot of that came from engineering school.
Yeah, establishing good habits, That's what it takes. Yeah.
So,
awesome.
I was actually wanting to piggyback off of your managing things question, Zumi, because like I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, man, you're in. All right, so you got the Xebellian Triangle, Enterprise Earth, and Stabbing that you're playing with. And I was just thinking, those are 3 very different styles of metal bands, right? So like,
Yeah.
do you ever find it tricky, or like do you find yourself kind of like having to kind of stop something when you switch bands, like when you go to a different like set of material, or you find yourself, I'm kind of doing something I do with Xebellian and I gotta switch gears. Like, is that ever something that comes up for you?
No, not really. So like I would say as far as song difficulty goes, the Enterprise stuff out of those 3 for sure gave me the most problems because everything released is all stuff that Brandon played on. We played a couple songs off the old one of the off Luciferus, which was the other Aron that played drums on that. But all the stuff off the Chosen, the singles, and Death and Anthology, that was all stuff that Brandon played drums on. And I don't know if I cut out a little bit there, but it said reconnecting. But
yeah, I lost you for a minute.
Okay, but basically, what I was trying to say is that like the Enterprise stuff has given me the most issues just because I was learning Brandon's drum parts, and like I can't even describe like how good of a drummer that guy is. Like he's on such a different level. So like trying to learn that stuff and play it as close as possible to his style was an insane challenge. On top of like the Enterprise songs already being long, already being like complex, and having different patterns and stuff like that. So that stuff gave me the most difficulty, and that's usually like if I'm gonna like struggle prepping before something, it's usually that. The Xebellian stuff, like especially now that we've played Obsidian for about a year, like the show you were at, like I actually didn't really practice any of the Xebellian stuff before that. We had one rehearsal, and so like you were like that. The first song we played, actually, I hadn't played in like I don't know 6 months, maybe a year. Besides the one rehearsal,
right?
Yeah, like a lot of those parts I either helped write or wrote entirely, and we've played them for years and years. And even Obsidian, which is like significantly harder than the rest of the songs, that was like my drum writing, and I recorded that, and that's all like it's tough and it's difficult stuff, but it's all like, it's like my bread and butter, you know, it's the stuff that I'm good at. And so that stuff, I'm not like, I kind of just jump into it. Like we do a rehearsal and you know, I messed up like in rehearsal, but then we played live and I was fine. And then with stabbing, like that stuff is just fast. It's like, it's just very, very fast. So like, it's actually been nice because it's helped me with all the other stuff, because all the faster Xebellian parts and Enterprise stuff feels like I'm able to like handle it much easier now, because I've been playing these really fast stabbing songs like every night on some of the tours and stuff. So, but I haven't had many issues with that. I mean, like I actually haven't run some of those songs since I got back from the last run until earlier today, and me and Marvin ran them fine. It was the complexity of those songs is not like anything too crazy. It's just mainly they're fast, some weird song structure stuff, but they're at least as far as like the nuance of those songs is a little more tame. So it's kind of, it's easier for me to just pick it back up. But overall, I've had no issues switching from one to the other. Like, I guess we'll see how I go switching straight from stabbing to Enterprise with one day of rehearsal, because I haven't done that yet. I haven't played a show with Enterprise. Yeah, that'll be the test, because I won't actually have I will be on that stabbing tour basically practicing the Dead Icarus songs and the Enterprise songs on like a practice pad. Like, I might see if I can go rent a practice space a couple of the off days and just go sit in a practice space all day in a random city, so I can run the songs. But
hey man, use that sound check.
Yeah, I guess I could. I don't. The problem is there's like 14 songs for me to go through, so like I don't think they'll be too happy with me like running all those songs during sound check. You know, it's like it takes me well over an hour to get through it all.
Yeah, I didn't think you really would.
I'll try though. It's worth a shot.
Hey, maybe you get one in this city and then get the other one in the next night in another city, or
That's
you
true,
could just add it to the bill. It's the Aron Hetsko solo Enterprise Earth practice set before the other bands come on. You know, no, just kidding.
I can just have Gabe send me the full band backing track, so they get everything but drums, and then I'll just be the opener, and they'll get a special drums only with the whole band on the backing track set or something.
There you go. An evening with Enterprise drums. There you go.
That's what I was thinking. An evening with good job.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man. Well, Greg. Yeah. What else you got?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No more questions?
No more. We're about an hour in.
Yeah, we are. We're about an hour in. Brando, do you happen to have any questions?
No, man. I asked mine.
You asked yours. Well, I got one more.
All right.
So, around November time, whenever you're through with these tours and you've put all this hard work behind you, What are you going to do until things fire back up again? Like, what is Aron going to do to unwind and prepare himself for what's coming next?
We'll take a break. Definitely just like probably we kind of talked about it earlier before we started, but, I would like to take, a while off of playing. But knowing me, it'll be like a week, and I'm going to sit there and be like, man, I want to play drums. And so probably at least do like a week, like force myself. Like if I'm going to be, wanting to get back on and be like, all right, give it at least a week, just because like my body just needs a break too. Like my, legs and my hands and my forearms and everything. But also probably just like hang out with friends and reconnect with some of my like local buddies and whatnot that I haven't I had a long break like when I got back from that Europe tour in March, and I had like March, April off, And so I'll probably do, and that's kind of what I did then. I like just went to shows and hung out with some friends, and I'll probably do that. I also like playing golf a lot, so I'll probably like try to play some more golf. So maybe some basketball too. I like playing basketball as well at the gym. So just staying active, because I like that. One thing about me, which I guess works for like the whole thing we were just talking about with practicing a lot and being prepared, is like I can't really like I'm bad at like sitting still. I feel like I'm always just, I need something to do. Like I'm not like the type, like I'll play video games and stuff occasionally, but it's usually like into the day for a couple hours or an hour and then I go to bed. But like I can't be like one of those people that like sits and just plays video games all day. Like I have to go do stuff. So like I'll just be finding stuff to do, whether it's like exploring, like I'll just go explore Houston. Like there's a lot of like there's like cool like nature preserves and stuff nearby, which like I know Houston is not known for nature, but there's like some cool like bayous and stuff. You'll see gators and cool wildlife. So I'll go explore stuff like that, play golf, play basketball, and just give myself a break from, you know, all this. Like I love doing everything that I'm doing, but yeah, I'm also looking forward to just not having anything on my plate for at least a little bit, and then the plate fills back up next year. But I'll get to that whenever I get to that. That'll probably be like next year activities. I'll probably just take the rest of the year off and then, you know, enjoy the especially like the holidays too. I'll be, you know, with family and whatnot, and my parents will have a new house across Houston, so I'll probably go visit them and stuff like that. So.
Well, awesome, man. I hope it's a good time, you know, after to celebrate the success and also to rest up and prepare for what's coming next, because we're excited for everything that you've got going on, which, hey, we're super excited about this song that we're going to play on this episode. You know, we talked a little bit before, and you mentioned the Obsidian Mirror, which that would be a great song by Xebellian Triangel, and I think, you know, we're going to get going with that song probably about right now. So everybody enjoy.
Blast beats.
Yeah, woo! Blast beats.
Yeah. Well, great song, great show, great interview, great talks. Aaron, we're so happy that you took just a few minutes. We know it's getting late, and just to spend some time with us, let us get to know you, and hopefully some other people get to check out the show. They get to know you a little bit. They go check out these projects that you're working on, and, you know, ultimately more people just get more metal. And, you know, we're really excited about what you got coming up. And everybody out there, go check Aaron out. I mean, go check out one of these groups that he's playing for. We'll have it down in the comments in the areas. So, or I'm sorry, all the bands that he's a part of. So, you know, go check them out and support them.
Should be new music from all of those projects at some point in the future. Like,
Awesome.
no dates yet, but there will be new music from all of them. So,
Awesome.
Very,
excited to help you.
very cool.
We love new music.
We love it. So it keeps the
Always.
world a spinning. Well, Aaron, thanks again. We'll go ahead and just end this thing and let you get back to your life. That's all I got. Metal Block over and out.
Later.
All right. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Kids.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Later,
Thank you, Aaron.
See you guys.